Rain, rain, rain. We have just had two of the wettest months ever recorded here in Fiordland. It has just been non-stop rain ever since spring hit, and I gotta admit it's been pretty miserable. However, it doesn't mean that there's not some good photographic opportunities out there. And one thing that I discovered recently is that the lake level has risen so high that the temperate rainforest has become flooded in some areas, and we have basically a floating forest. The beech trees are submerged in water, and it's really creating quite a unique photographic opportunity. So I saw this recently when I was out on a hike with my wife. I couldn't wait to get back with the camera, so that's exactly what I did. I ended up having two attempts here. I'm going to show you some of the footage of heading out in the field, and then at the end of the video we'll look at some of the post-processing of these scenes because they are quite tricky, and I managed to go back in different lighting scenarios, but yeah, it's a little bit tough. So I haven't even really gone through the raw files completely and decided if I'm going to be keeping anything in particular, but there's definitely potential there. So check out the footage, I'll talk you through that, and then we'll have a look at some of the raw files. Alright, well this will give you an idea. The first visit I had was more or less around midday. It was just a bit of a scouting trip once I realised the forest was flooded. And what I immediately latched onto was the long shadows and light on the water. But the downside was all that light was just making it really hard to lead the eye effectively. You can see here those harsh highlights bouncing off the water. That's not ideal. And it's also not ideal in a forest scene to have too much light hitting various trees. That way it's really difficult to kind of lead the eye through into the frame if you've got light just hitting foreground, midground and background. So I spent maybe an hour or so here trying my best anyway in this stronger light. There was definitely opportunities. What I was really concentrating on was some of these reflections that you can see. Somewhat abstract, but these light beams and the long shadows were something that really caught my eye. But I decided, look, I've got to come back when the sun is lower just to see what I can do and maybe work with the different lighting conditions. So that's what I did. So here we are for sunrise now, and it took a couple of days to finally get that clear morning, and it was amazing to see how much the water level had dropped in that amount of time. I was a bit discouraged at first, but it worked out fine, and I actually had a workshop booked that day, a private workshop, and thankfully the client was more than keen to come out and try and capture this unique environment. So we spent a good couple of hours here as the light just slowly got higher and made its way through. I did find that the really low angled sun just wasn't that good. There wasn't enough light, but then it got good maybe 30 to 45 minutes after sunrise, around this point here where the light was finally coming in and creating more of those shadows and long lines in the water. So a really unique experience. I couldn't really film too much because I was teaching on the workshop, and then the first visit was basically a recce. And then that was it. The lake level just kept receding because the lake just flows down the river and out to the ocean. So there was a little window in time there where I was able to take advantage of what is basically, negative weather conditions with all that rain. But there's always something you can do in landscape photography. And generally what's cool about when you have an event like that is you're capturing something that you might not be able to do again for many years. So let's pull up some of the raws and we'll look at what I captured, what worked, maybe what didn't work, and we'll start some processing on some of these files as well. Lots of raw files here. I was just having fun out there as I do, just experimenting with different angles. You can see how many frames that I captured. A lot of these are just subtle variations on the same type of frame, just getting things tighter. For the sake of the video, I've definitely shortlisted a few, and there's quite a few here. Now out of this shortlist, which is what, 3, 6, 9, maybe 20, I might keep 1 or 2, I'm not sure yet. There's just a lot going on in these scenes, which is typically the case when it comes to forest photography anyway, in the woodlands. What I'm going to do is open all these up. So I'm just going to select all, open these up in camera raw, that way we can look at them larger, and then I'll talk through some of the thought process. The thing that was really capturing my eye was the reflections that we were getting. But it's interesting because you'd get this partial reflection, and then it would kind of roll into being translucent in areas, which I really liked. It's somewhat abstract. Now most of these files here have just had a really quick edit. I've just lifted the shadows and things like that. We can dial into a more serious edit shortly, but just running through some of the different frames and ideas I had. This really reminds me of some of those swampy tree photos we see from the States. That was the vibe I was getting. This one here, I like the abstraction more on this side. how you're just seeing the trees merge into their own reflection, and it's almost hard to tell where the reflection ends and begins. So this one may actually look better tighter. I don't like cropping too much, but you know, something like that could be quite nice. There's really a lot of green in here, but what was tricky was the tannins in the water is giving an orangey warm hue, which I don't mind, but that's a lot going on when you've got green as well. So this is where, when it comes to the processing, I'm just going to have to really figure out which direction do we want to take it. I always find the forest scenes here look better cooler, but that cooler colouring, I don't know how well that's going to work with the tannins, so it might have to be warmer anyway, but we'll see. But this is what I was looking for. There we go. So there's one where we don't have to crop in. So I ended up, this is what I mean about in the field, just progressively adjusting the comp. So that was the original, which honestly I still don't mind that anyway. It's all about balance when you're working in the landscape, trying to balance out the shapes. And then I've gone in a little tighter there. That one's quite bright, so you might just lean in and be a little darker with that one. Let's see what else we've got. Absolute chaos in there, and it's hard. There's not really any foregrounds because the water is just flooded any foreground possibilities. I think that's got way too much light going on, and this was day one, and what I was mentioning about not being there at the right time, way too much contrast down in the reflection, so it gets a bit hard to lead the eye to a particular point. Potentially a polarizer might have helped in this case, but it was also the fact that the light was hitting the trees a lot of the time as well, which I didn't include many of them, but there was a few moments where the sun just came through and just lit everything up. It wasn't ideal at all. So coming back the next morning, or a few mornings later for sunrise, it was definitely incredible, but also challenging in itself because there wasn't quite enough light initially, which meant all the water now is relatively dark. And if you bring up those details, which is what I had here, it's very abstract, but potentially too much going on. And the colouring, we've got the warm highlights from the sunrise coming in, but then you got the cool shadows. Normally that's quite pleasing on the eye, but in this case, I think there was a bit too much happening. So I found that I was being drawn back to simpler frames, and these are some of my favourite here. Simpler frames with less light and less colour. So the only colour we're really getting predominantly is what we have in the trees with these mosses. So I really like some of these frames where we just have big to small, near to far, a gentle backlight, not too much light in general. So let's put a landscape profile on that one, and we'll just brighten it up a little bit so you can see what's going on. And we might just get rid of some of that right hand side like so. A little bit of vibrance. So this one here, and I think I worked this scene quite a lot. This is really getting in the ballpark of what I was hoping to capture in this place. Got a big dominant, prominent subject. I like this fallen log on the side, tells a bit of a story. We've got the tail of the reflections and the water, and then in this one a sense of depth, and the light is just in this nice back area. And this is where I'd probably use a brush to just enhance things further. So a bit of increase in exposure, slightly warmer, just punch in a bit of light back there, for example. Pull that down. So that's potentially something I'll keep. However, like I said, there's quite a few frames from this particular spot. Still competing with some of the strong highlights in the water, which you can see we've got a lot of recovery there, so it's certainly not as bad as it looks in the raw. Landscape profile, slightly greener, a little bit of vibrance, beautiful. So this has potential as well. So running through, you can see different variations from that particular section. Now, towards the end here, this got interesting, completely different area. I found this frame and I really liked what was happening here. I'll just raise this one up for you. Compositionally, I wish I was here a touch sooner before there was too much light hitting this front tree in order to lead the eye through to this background area. So this is where in the processing, what I'll do is lift up those darker details back here, just to help that look further away. And that's the atmospheric perspective there, just to give that more of an illusion of depth. And this one in theory would probably work well without that right-hand side, just pulling that in like so. And I probably wouldn't keep this ratio. I generally like a 2:3 or a 16:9, but just to give you an idea of where the head was at with this composition. And then maybe we'll just darken the edges down, more contrast, reduce the highlights a little. And I'm trying to lead the eye with this frame through to the background. So I like that there was a natural little window here and a natural sense of depth that comes through quite easily. We'll just go slightly brighter in the background. And then what about that reflection down the bottom? It's very blue. I'm just lifting the shadows in there. Not too much. That's starting to build out the depth now that I'm after. I love that near and far and contrast being heavy and then progressively getting lighter as we roll through to that background. Let's just do a before and after on that one. And very interesting just getting those colors in there. You could adjust those blues, color mixer, saturation, blue, pull that back a touch, just so it's not screaming at us. But yeah, definitely enjoying that type of comp, and I might have a few variations on that. Who knows, could even be the next frame. Like I said, I do prefer a 2 to 3. It just gives you a little bit more breathing space and ability to flow into the frame. So it still might work okay like this, I think. But anyway, I'll slow down and process that. You get the idea of where I'll go with it anyway. It's just taking the time to refine it, but that definitely is the general direction. I'll take that one. Yeah, this was interesting too. So some of these might even work well. It's funny because you need more light to come in and hit the trees and bring the moss to life, but then unfortunately what happens is once that light hits the water, it's a little too strong and dominant. So you gotta, it's just these brief little windows and picking the right compositions to work with that light, but maybe a little less reflections here could do the trick. Well, not quite. Now the other part I just wanted to show you guys was towards the end where I really worked those shadows, yeah, right here. So this was a bit of a standout moment as far as the light was concerned. The downside is, in my opinion, the comp just lacks what I'd call like a natural resting place, a natural point for the eye to finish on, main subject matter essentially. I just wish there was one tree back there which was standing out more than the others. If you go back to some of my favorites, which would be something like this, at least it's obvious that we're kind of meant to flow through and more or less finish on that tree. And even that other frame that we had earlier, this one, there's just some big elements here which it gives the eye something to land on. When we look at this other one, we've got the light, and really the light's the main subject. But to me, it's a forest scene. We want to have a branch or a tree that's the star. So a bit torn there because that was all about the light, and very fascinating light, but not really something that I feel like the eye can, rest on, which I'm just always looking for. You can see what's in there though. There's a lot in them, quite fun, but yeah, I don't know, a bit torn. This is one benefit. Look, this has been several weeks since photographing these. Now that I'm looking at them with fresh eyes, you can just look so much clearer, more objective, and the emotion is gone. So it's not the end of the world if I just have to go, you know what, nah, forget it. I'm not keeping it, not processing it. And if you try to look straight away, you'll probably end up forcing some of the images. So if you can, try not to look at your raw files straight after shooting. This moment here was really interesting too, because again of that partial reflection, but too much light was the enemy. Back here you can see all that light hitting the surrounding environment, and same on that one. It's really hard in the forest. You have to be there with the right lighting conditions. Too much light, it's going to be a battle. You're better off being in there when there's no light, just an overcast day, and then you can really dictate where the eye goes. So with that said, and this is more like overcast conditions here where the sun just disappeared briefly. With that said, and running through these with you guys now, I have already looked at these and made selections, but out of all these selections, just running through it again and talking it through, personally I'm thinking definitely that one. And again, just reprocess it, get rid of some of those blues down there. That has potential too, but it's very similar to this one, but I do like that also. So maybe these two I'd keep and you know, actually process and then let them marinate. And yeah, I'd like to see about this one. And I'll go back through the raws and see if I've maybe got a slight variation on that comp. Maybe I got down lower, and getting lower would have got rid of some of these bright patches in the water. So that'd be cool to see if I've got something there. But compositionally, I really like that one. The dark to light, near and far. I think there's a good sense of depth. And yeah, maybe one of these more panorama type ones. But anyway, good to share the thought process with you guys. Like I said, I couldn't film much in the field with executing these images. But hopefully this was worth watching. Because I wanted to share that anyway, because it's quite a unique opportunity. So I'll get stuck into some of these, and I might eventually share the results. They'll end up on the website if I keep any. But thanks for tuning into another video, guys. I'll see you in the next one, and thank you for your support.